yourself and not get squished and dampened, and maintain the power that you have, that so many of us feel like that's a lifeline and count on. And I just want to say that I appreciate how vulnerable you are in all the places you are and how you speak to me.
Thank you so much for what you said. It's very, very kind of you to say that. I think it's all about motivation. You know, each one of us has a motivation in our lives. Maybe it's a motivation in terms of how you want to be as a friend, how you want to be on the internet, how you want to be in your life. My motivation was determined very early on by, and I'm going to just kind of go deep here for a second, and I'll make it as brief as possible so it's not my limit, but my father, what I would say to him as a very young person, Dad, what should I do with my life? He would say, starting, I think I was 10, when he started saying this, it's kind of heavy. He'd say, well, Ann, you know, I think you should do something that is of some service to others. Because then you will know, only then will you know, at the end of your life, that it mattered that you were born. So that on your last day, how do you want to think about who you are and what you've done? And when you think about it in that way, and you have that as your motivation, to be useful, to be of some service, then it kind of cuts away a lot of this other stuff. And especially in the world that I'm working in, you know, I'm working in a very cutthroat, tough world. And people come with many different motivations. And I would say that you know, that a lot of people's motivations are to be useful and to be helpful and to be reporting, but not everyone's are. And that can be very difficult, especially when you care so much and you want so much. If you believe, you know, that as I do, in this idealistic way, that pure information, that giving you information that helps you learn something about your world, but also care more deeply. I'm going to take it a step further. My feeling about journalism is that I'm not, while I will run to do stories that everybody else is covering, I feel that if everyone else is covering those stories, then why should I look at what isn't being covered? And that's one reason why, and not just because of that, but because I personally feel the stories above all else that must be covered, and I mean this, above all else, must be stories that are One question. Can I just finish that point? No one is never, you know, should be heard more than the other.
That's right.
Really the focus. I believe that every human being, no matter who you are, where you are in life, the value is equal. There is no person who is more. So that's why when I go off and I do these stories in Congo, Darfur, in Pakistan, Iraq, Afghanistan, South Africa, whenever I go to all these places, I'm doing usually stories, almost always stories of human suffering. It was remarkable to me is when I'm interviewing a woman who has been, and forgive me, this is tough, who has been so brutally raped. There's a new word that must come. Someone must invent a new word for rape, because what has happened to women of Congo is a sin in everyone's book. It's not just rape, which is bad enough, but they're raped with things so that they can not even go to the bathroom ever again normally. They have to have surgery to be repaired. And I'm meeting these people and having them talk to me about this brutality that they're living. And when I do this story about Sifa, who saw her parents killed, who endured this, and I'm talking to her afterwards, and I say, do you want revenge? And she says to me, all I want is to rise from this bed, thank the people who took care of me, work for God, and maybe someday feel a mother's love again. When I do that story, and people in America care about this woman who was left for dead and didn't matter. It is a way, and this is a story people weren't covering at that time, and there's greater awareness now about Congo, which is great. But this idea of going to where people are not going, doing stories that are not being done, and having you hear these voices and then having you care about these people. I think there's a benefit to all of us, not only in learning deeper about our ability as human beings to have resilience even in the worst of circumstances, but also I think it's about, to me, it's about the rise of empathy, the rise of compassion, which reaffirms, in my view, our evolution as a species, despite all the laggers and despite all the events that pull us down. I suspect, not only suspect, I believe, based on my study of history, that we're evolving to a greater, more compassionate, more empathetic people. With a lot of laggers, we are evolving. And so I could go on and on, but I cannot. So I shall.
Ah.
So, I really appreciate her words. I'd like to bring out the